Hi, everybody. Good morning to most of you. Good evening to some of you because we have people across the globe. My name is Diana, and I'm the communicational skills trainer. I have done many sessions in the past. So if you have a membership with us, you can always go to communication skills and see what we have covered in the past. And there are a lot of topics that help you in today's world. Um, so, to start with, we are talking about resume creation. Now, we all know that, resumes is not something unfamiliar with us, especially with experienced employees, experienced executives. We all have made this before. And we have asked friends for help or somebody else who's more experienced to just go through it and make an impactful resume. Now, can anyone tell me the difference between a resume and a CV? You can unmute, and maybe I'll just wait for about 10 seconds for your answers. Okay, sorry, I got muted automatically. All right. So I was asking you the difference between a resume and a CV. Now, the difference earlier in maybe I would say my time, because I have over 15 years of experience, at that time we used to build a CV, a curriculum vitae, which is more in detail. Every single thing that you have done, you communicate it on your CV. So it's more than like a two-page CV that we send, which has all in details, because at that time employers used to go through every detail to see, to screen. HR would need that. But this had changed later, where HR or the management level would want to hear from you in detail and less on your profile, which then is a resume. A resume is a shorter version of your profile, as in uh, about you and the work that you have done and why that particular company should hire you. So let's see, why does a resume matter? You can go to the next slide. Now, why does a resume matter? A resume is not a biography. Like I said earlier, a CV was more in detail. So we would have like a 4-page, 5-page explanation or in detail of what we've done. So even if it is a small little bit that we've done in terms of work with a particular company, we would write it down. But not anymore. We do not do that. It is a short description of yourself and what you bring to the table. So it is a marketing document. Why marketing? Because you're marketing yourself. You are telling a company why they should recruit you over the others who have also applied for the same job position. So you're marketing yourself. And when you market yourself, you need to be really apt with what you are bringing to the table, as in how you can help the company grow. So let's see in detail. One, who are you? That is your name and a little bit of your background, not too much. What skills do you have? So your skill set. What value can you bring? Now, every company, when they hire you, they look at what value addition can they have when they hire you. Otherwise, there are hundreds and thousands of people. Why do they select you out of them? That is where the catch is. And that is how we need to market ourselves. That, okay, I'm sure you have a lot of people, but this is what I can do, and this is my skill set, and this is what how I can make your company grow. And the same thing, why should we shortlist you? Is because, again, I mean, out of hundreds, thousands of resumes, why should they choose you? Moving on. Now, the resume structure, all of us, like I said, all of us understand, and we've done, we've written our own resumes, sometimes with the help of friends, experienced people, maybe agents, because I know that, there are people who actually charge to get your resume done, even now. However, in today's world, we're talking about AI, where you just put your document, you attach it, you say, okay, this is what I want to focus on. But even then, if you're using AI to create your resume, it has to be structured. And the structure that we're going to talk about, which is the important pointers that we need to focus on, are the following. That is one, the header, career objective or the summary, education, skills, projects, internship or experience. That is, yeah, if you're a fresher or an experienced person, then that, again, it a little bit changes, which I will talk to you in detail. Certifications, achievements, extracurricular activities, which we used to do put earlier, but now we generally don't. However, it's optional. If you want to mention it, mention it. So let's go in detail now. Let's talk about the header. The resume header, which is your professional branding. How do you brand yourself? The first is on every resume you see, and now it is very important you have your picture. So your header would be your full name, your phone number, your professional email ID, LinkedIn account, and if most of you, I mean, at least the students on IT Learn are more of a technical background, so maybe have your technical portfolio. If you have that as well. So if you see in the example, it is your name, number, your email account. I just put Gmail just for an example, but you can put whatever account you have, your LinkedIn and your GitHub. Now here we have to keep in mind that never ever put, like, there are emails which says your name, for example, Kiran Cowboy at gmail.com or Diana Sweet Girl at gmail. Never ever do that. Always have professional email IDs with your first and last name, or your first name and your the first initial of your last name. However, but professional email ID is a must. Now next. Your career objective. Now, strong versus weak. Weak objective, to get a good job in a reputed company. We've seen this, at least I have. I've also, because of training, I've been a trainer most of my life and a part of the HR interview where I look at communication skills, behavioral skills, and all of that. So I judge, or I have recruited people based on that. Now, when you look at a resume, you I have seen these, like, I want to join your company because it is awesome, because it is the most known company in the world, things like that. Now, that objective is a big no-no. So what should be a strong objective? Like mentioned, again, it's an example. Motivated computer science graduates skilled in Python and machine learning. This is an example. You can put whatever your skill set is. Seeking an entry level, or seeking a management role, whatever the role that you've applied for, okay, or whatever role, to apply problem solving and project experience in AI driven applications, or whatever your skill set is. So have your first statement is the most, because when even when you read anything, the beginning, even if you're reading a book, in the beginning, if you're going to read a book and it sounds disinterested, like, I mean, it sounds boring, you're not going to finish the book because you've already made up your mind. You are saying no. It's again, say your sixth sense, emotional intelligence is telling you, your mind is telling you that, okay, based on this, this is going to be boring. So if I'm reading a book, I'm not going to go to the next level. I'm not going to read more because I've already made up my mind. And in a professional environment, in a company, there are a lot of people in HR or recruiters who just look at your objective and make up their minds. Because if it is not up to the mark, they are not going to read the entire or even look into your resume. You're going to be, I mean, okay, just sidelined. So please ensure that your objective is bang on. It is very motivational. It gives a very, it's as an HR person or as a recruiter, I should be intrigued to know more about you because it sounds very exciting. I mean, this person has introduced themselves like this. So, I've made up my mind that, wow, you fit the role. So your objective has to be very, very strong. Moving on. Now, your skills section. For example, this is again examples, however, and whatever your skill sets are, you would go ahead and write it down accordingly. Where you're talking about programming, web, database, tools, concepts, what have you all used? What are you all aware of? If it's a fresher, then you put what have you, what you graduated or learned and what you have learned while interning with a company. If you're experienced, I don't need to tell you much. You know that this. Please don't write paragraphs. It is very, very important these days that we write a one liner. In that one liner, you have a very strong heading. Like here, for example, if I say programming, what have you done in programming? Blah, 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 blah. Then in web, what is your experience of? What have you learned? What can you do? So the same way, every resume is different, everyone's skill set is different. So according to that, you make your subheaders and have your subject line, or I'm sorry, not subject line, but your skill or your learning or whatever it is, you have it accordingly. Now, here again, why I've written don't write big skills, which is like, I'm very hardworking, I'm a quick learner, I can do wonders, I'm the best fit. I've come across resumes where they just put, I'm the best fit and nothing. How are you fit? How do I know if you've not written all of this, what you are good at or what your skill set is? How do I know? Because I have to read and see what you have, but I want it all in one, so I can just go through your resume in one shot and know that you are the person I need to hire or at least shortlist. So when you're talking about this, when you are during the interview, you can say, yes, I'm a quick learner. So there's something that the interviewer is saying, okay, have you worked on so and so? And say you've not worked on it. Say I'm a quick learner. So I will. And then you can say, in my previous role as well, I did not know this, but I have learned in a short span and I have delivered this. That would be your add-on to for interviewers also to gain a keen interest in knowing you more. Moving on. Project section. This is now for a technical resume. This is the most important. What projects have you worked on? Don't give a story of the project, how it started, and what you did, what were the issues, and how you helped. No, do not write in a paragraph. So you just write the project name and how you helped solve the problem. That is in a one liner. And what are the features that you built or you helped building or you learned? Then what is the outcome or the impact of you helping out in that particular project? it is extremely important, this section for technical background. They are not going to look at other things. They're going to just see, okay, what you worked on, where you worked on, what project was it, how did you help, you know. So this is what, as an HR person, and I have also recruited people with from a technical background. Obviously, I am not a very technically sound person. I'm more of a communication skills trainer. So I look at, the other part of communication, your behavior, your posture, your confidence, and all of those things. However, even when I go through a resume, I want to see what you have done, what you have achieved wherever you worked, what have you achieved in that time span. That is most important for me, because I don't want to see stories after stories. I don't have the time. And there are, say, hundreds and thousands of resumes. I'm not going to go through every detail. Honestly, nobody has the time. So keep this is the most impactful section of your resume. Even if you're an intern, what project have you worked on, how you helped build it, how have you solved it, what outcome, or how have you created a difference while working on the project. Anybody has any questions so far, you can please unmute yourself and ask me. All right. All right. I'm sorry, did anyone unmute?
Yeah, this is Vasundhara. So here for project name and technology and roles, do we need to mention or not? What kind of
The
role we
role,
have? Yeah.
of course, you can. So if you've seen before, your subheader. So under project name, you can write role and you
Mm-hmm.
can put your role there. And the next, how you view problem, what was the issue and problem? How did you solve the problem? So problem
Mm-hmm.
solved and one liner. Features built again will become like a subheader, and then you have a one liner in terms of what features or how have you helped or whatever you're working on, what have you built, and the
Okay.
outcome or the impact or the difference. What difference did it make for you to be on that project? So just a one liner that could be not in like one word or anything, maybe just a one sentence that, say for example, I've been a great team player and have for example, say it was a 5-day project. We worked overnight. I worked overnight for 3 days, and we ensured that this was delivered to the client,
Mm-hmm.
for example. So that, as a recruiter, I'll be very interested to see, oh, okay, because that tells me that you're a very hardworking person. It also tells me that you don't care about just working hours. You put in more effort. You don't mind working extra hours, which also shows me leadership skills. So as a
Okay.
recruiter, your one sentence can make a great impact. I'm going to look at that and I'm going to decide that. And sometimes what happens is when we recruit, we are not recruiting only for you to just be stuck in a particular job position or job role. We look at leadership skills as well. So in about 6 months, we can maybe, move this person to another level. So your inputs, your the way you put your resume has to be very apt. It has to be very appropriate, short, and says a lot in that one sentence or few words.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else with any questions? Okay. Moving on.
I'm sorry, I have something to ask. I don't know if
Sure.
it is relevant. This is Aravind.
Yep. Hi,
I'm
Arvind.
really sorry to ask this question. So this session is supposed to be on demo for AI essentials, right? So am I in a wrong room?
No, no. So this, what we had as a header was the February sessions, which has QA to AI, Fox's certification, and you keep getting reminders of what it is. We've sent you all, we sent everybody emails, even reminder emails of this week what the sessions are going to be of. Arvind, have you received the email from us?
Yes, I received, but no, it is so as scheduled today, 9th February, 4 p.m. GMT.
Yeah.
It is saying as AI Essentials Vibe Coding Fox's certification, but I'm actually confused. Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I've
So that
joined.
is okay, okay. That is an overall of February trainings. But what we do is over the weekends or Monday early morning PT time, we send out an email saying that what is going to be this week's training sessions because every week we have different training on different topics.
That's fine.
So I'm sorry.
Okay.
Probably I'll take that as a feedback, and maybe going forward we will just have the reminder as well with the heading of what the session is going to be of.
Exactly. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right. So customer churn prediction. Now this is something again where you're writing about yourself. So in the project name itself, what when you're writing about your project, what have you done? How was the outcome? What is a turnout? So this is another example. Built a machine learning model to predict customer churn with 87% accuracy, used logistic regression and random forest, deployed model using Flask. And here, if you have numbers or percentages, please add them. So this is again, it goes to your project. What projects have you done? What was your key pointers? And as from the customer point of view, how did it impact? Okay, moving on. Now, this is for either it's an intern or experienced employee. Now, for take it both ways. I mean, I don't have to really say much to the experience, but of course, you'll write your intern, the company name, the duration you worked, what did you work on in that period, what have you learned? But this also goes for experience. What have you worked on? Because learning is never a stop. We always learn. Every company that we join, we learn something new. So I would also say that if you're an experienced person as well, please write that down because it gives an employer or a recruiter that you are open to learning. And you are, if you're talking about it, which is like an add-on, and it always helps. So worked on, learned, delivered. And this is an example. If it's an intern, you worked with so and so company, you've developed so and so techniques, collaborated with team to test, deploy, prototype. And if you're experienced, then you talk about your team, you talk about what you have um, done there. So now this is again in experience slots. One is your projects, which is the most important. Before even your experience, I think you have to always give your projects, what you worked on. After projects, then you talk about your experience, which is your company, and what role have you played there, and what have you taken away from that, and what. So it tells me what you can bring as an addition to my company. If you work there on so and so, you've learned so much, you've delivered XYZ in a short span of time or a long span of time, depending on what the project is, it only tells me that you will do the same even in my company. So as an employer, I will always be interested to speak with you. Any questions? All right, moving on. Now your certifications. Oh, this also I've seen a lot actually. So there are. I don't know from where and how. So they're not relevant certificates, even certifications. I've seen some, for example, to say that there's some what translator of some type. Then I've also come across, um, you know, in a race, for example, I'm giving you, like in this competition, which is a sports competition. I don't want that certification. I don't need to know that about it. You can write it in your achievements, maybe. But your certifications has to be very, very appropriate and related to your job role that you're requesting to be hired for. So, what are your certifications in relevance to the job role? That is important. Not your sports, not your extracurricular, whatever you've done. You must be a champ at chess, but you're requesting for, a particular job role in a company. I'm not going to be interested in that. So always put relevant certifications. Moving on. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Now your achievements. Here, like I said earlier, here you can put, oh, you've been a winner at state level chess championship, you ran a marathon, you whatever, but again, you can just write one of it. Suppose I'm very good at sports and I've won a lot of, I've achieved a lot in terms of different sports. Do you think I should write everything in my achievements? No. Chess is something that you can, because it shows how smart. Obviously chess is a very difficult game, and if you're at a championship level, it only shows me your capacity, your patience, your ability to analyze. So that's something I'm interested in. So sports which makes sense to show your patience, your agility, your ability, have those, not everything. And then have more, maybe in a particular, for the job role. Say if coding, then write something that you know, you won a coding contest. Or, and then the more in detail, if they ask you, if the recruiter asks you, the employer asks you, you can say in detail, where have you done, where was this contest, whether it was in college, whether it was your, inter organization that you'll had. Because nowadays, I mean, it's not nowadays, it was there before also, you have a lot of inter organization competitions. So that time you can mention it, but do not give too many achievements. Give relevant ones here as well. Here I've written that small achievements help, yes, but relevant ones. And then when you start talking, then you can say, I've always been a sports person. So apart from chess, I've also won table tennis, I've won badminton, and stop. So, and many more. You don't have to mention each one. So it gives you a chance to open up and to speak of your achievements. All right, moving on. Now, common resume mistakes, like we all do, which we just copy paste the objective. And initially, yes, even I've done that. We are all human at the end of the day. We work, we learn with the experience and mistakes. So, what we end up doing is we probably would have, wanted to join at a particular company at a different job profile. However, now here you are applying for a completely different role, or maybe something that you have, say, if you've achieved in terms of certifications or you've learned on the job. What we end up doing is we copy paste the same objective, where we are not changing the titles and the skill set. And as mentioned earlier, I've said that your objective is the most important of your resume apart from your projects? Because that is what we look at in the beginning. Okay, what is your objective? Why do you want to join my company? Is it relevant to the job role? So please, whenever you share your resumes on LinkedIn or wherever, just double check the objective and if it is relevant to the job role that you're applying for. So just don't forward it. Too much personal info. That is date of birth, of course, it's necessary. But apart from that, nowadays nobody asks which religion and all of that you are from. I've seen where they talk about their kids and how many people in their family. So you don't need to write all of that. It is not at all relevant in today's world. And even previously, also, nobody was interested. And even in interviews, nobody would ask. So do not ensure you don't have a biography of yourself. Nobody wants to know that. We, as recruiters, as employers, we need to know your ability, your skill, what you can, how you can help my company grow. That is what I'm interested in. Now, the other pointer is incorrect formatting. Now, when I say incorrect formatting, I'm talking about even if you look at fonts, what you are putting in, bold, unbold, highlights. So just see that it's clean. It is the same fonts. You have like different sections and the focus, the main headers or the subheaders are the focus, but not like right in your face. It has to be subtle yet impactful. Now, fake skills. When I say fake, I mean that please do not have skills that you do not have. Okay, for example, you write management skills, and if you're put in a group and you're asked to solve a particular problem, or not even put in a group, just a hypothetical question the HR asks you that, okay, because as an HR person, I would see that, okay, if I give you a particular situation, and if you're good at management, how would you handle it? So if you are just putting your skill set for the sake of it, please do not, because you'll get stuck when you're asked to talk about the situation. What would you do? So this is what I mean when I say fake skills. So do not put any skill that you're not good at, that you cannot confidently answer. Just have, it's okay to have few skills, but ace it. Like anything they ask you and you're confident about answering, because if you write something that you're not aware of, you will get stuck, you'll start stammering, you will not have the right answers. And many rounds, mostly when it comes to management level rounds, they grill you only to see whether whatever you've written on your resume is true or not, and whether they should invest in you or not. Now, long paragraphs, like I said, please don't write a biography. Again, when you do not write your projects, especially for if you're coming from a technical background, you have to mention your projects. After objective, the next is your projects. Then write your experience. Because this is something that, whether it's in HR, management, employer, recruiter, this is what they look at. Any questions so far? All right, I'm assuming that there are no questions. So moving on. Now, customizing a resume for different roles. I've mentioned this earlier that maybe, you have various skill set and you can also fit into this role, Y role, Z role. You customize it accordingly. Do not add or generalize your resume. Because if a recruiter is looking at hiring somebody with a particular skill set, focus on that skill set. Maybe you can write the extras in your achievements, or even in your achievements you can say you work at so and so and this is what you have delivered. It's an achievement. So, or in your project, you work on so and so, but make it very, very relevant to the job role you want to be hired. And like I said, just one resume does not fit all jobs. Like, I mean, if you talk about me, I have management level. I worked at management. I'm a communication skills trainer. I also have done events. So I have been an all-rounder. Now, if I am looking at, say, just particularly communication skills trainer, or communication skills head at a particular company, do you think my events or my management may help? But I will try and just maybe write a very short note about that. But do you think events or modeling or whatever it is, even if I'm an actor, will that help? No, it's just waste of space. So I'll focus more on, as a communication skills trainer, these are my skill set. This is what I worked on. This is what I have delivered. And this is what I can do for your company's growth if you hire me. This is why I should be hired. Just that. All right, moving on. Oh, sorry. Actually, there is a technical difficulty at my end. So one of my colleague is sharing screen. And for resume creation, these are all the very important points and what you should keep in mind, even if you're using AI to build your resume. Just focus on these skill set so that you can be hired. Do not have a very long resume, do not have too much information. Keep it compact but impactful. Leave the rest for you to talk about in an interview, which we will now move on to the interview skills. Any questions on resume creation?
Um, the last question related to this one, I'm a bit confused.
Okay.
So whatever resume we are preparing, like suppose we are applying for data analyst role, so
Mhm.
we are highlighting that and preparing that kind resume related to that, right? And no need
Absolutely.
to mention the other roles in the air, like somewhere else in that resume, right? The second and third roles that we have added, right? We don't need to
Yes,
mention that in
absolutely.
that resume.
Yes. So
Okay.
for example, to answer your question, now data analyst. Now your
Mhm.
objective. In your objective, you will write as a data analyst what you can, how you can help this particular company. This is my skill set, and I would love to join your company because I can do this, whatever. So that will be your highlight as to why you are looking to join a particular company as a data analyst. Then in your projects, your first we'll talk about data analyst, okay, analysis. So you will focus on that. Maybe in the next, after one or two pointers, then you can add what you've done apart from being a data analyst. You can put it into a project. In your education, anyway, you're going to mention what are your certifications, right? Your
Mhm.
certifications or education.
Mhm.
It
Yes.
is going to it apart from data analysis. What else have you achieved in terms of certification, experience, or education?
Okay.
Education and
So
certification is the same. So
okay, so we can talk about like give a highlight over there and the achievements.
exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
so that they will be
Because
also thinking of okay similar role or like similar responsibilities added to this person and they are able to do that kind of impression.
correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank
Absolutely.
you.
And another reason why you shouldn't write too much in the beginning and just focus on the job role, they would think you'll be too expensive to hire.
Mm.
If you have great skill sets apart from being a data analyst, they will think, oh, okay, I don't think this person will join because as from an employer's point of view, I'm going to make up my mind looking at that, because you are not talking about data analysis. You're talking about other things that you can do, which I'm not interested in at the moment. It will be an added feature for me in the future. But right now, as an HR person, or even if I'm a manager, I'm looking only at a data analyst.
Mm-hmm.
This I can use in future. So that's why it is very, very, and to be very honest, uh, I have, I'm so sorry, you said Radha, right? Your name is?
No, Vasundhara.
Vasundhara. I'm so sorry, Vasundhara. So Vasundhara, I've made that mistake as well, very early on. So
Uh-huh.
I would end up writing a lot of my skill set. It's great
Uh-huh.
to be an all-rounder, but it's also a curse that way, because
Hmm.
then they would think that you might be above pay scale.
Hmm.
That's another major reason, because they have to be within budget.
Got it.
So, yeah. So just like, instead of your resume, just for their perception that your resume gets just, rejected immediately. That's why we say focus on the job role, what you want to interview for, what is the company expecting. So focus on that, and in your achievements or certifications, write the other things, so that
Okay.
it's an added advantage.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. We have less time on hand, so I'm going to just swift through or run through interview skills. Let's see why interview skills are also important. Now, here, understanding what interviewers really look for. I mentioned before, confidence in communication, of course, yes. And you can be confident and communicate well only if you are good at your skill set, in terms of you're not faking it. You know it, you know your content, so even if you're not a great communicator, even if your English is not above or above average or whatever, but your confidence will steal the deal, because you know what you're talking about and you're communicating it very confidently. Now, next is problem solving mindset. So, like in your achievements, that you will give an example, or what the recruiters are looking for. Okay, I've seen your achievements. This was a situation you've solved it this way. So that is my keen interest, that okay, tomorrow if we also have this person is a problem solver, not a problem maker. Okay, so that is another important aspect that a recruiter or an employer looks for. Your attitude and your professionalism. Now, your attitude from your telephonic interview, if HR calls you, when you sound that time, your confidence, your at the right attitude, and being professional. Say, you'll say, hello, hi, this is Diana. I'm calling from Infosys. I just received your resume. And then and imagine you're on the other end saying, hi, Diana, actually, can you please call me after 1 hour? That is not the right attitude. And the way you say it, definitely a no, because do you think I'm going to call you after 1 hour? I'm going to keep other people above. The right attitude, even if you're busy, would be is, hi, Diana, lovely speaking with you. I'm really sorry, but at the moment I'm busy with some personal work. So is it okay for you to please, if you can, call me in 1 hour? Otherwise, I can still step out and continue this call. That is the right attitude. You're conveying that you're stuck somewhere. However, I mean, you're requesting also that if the person can call you after 1 hour, and at the same time you're saying, if you cannot, then I will step aside. Doesn't matter. This is important for me. I'll step aside and I will do the interview. That shows your professionalism. That also tells me that in future you're going to be a great team player. So even if you're stuck with something, I'm sure that the work will be done because you're a professional. That is very important. Ability to work in a team. Of course, team player. I don't need to stress on that. a lot more real world application of skills. That is nothing but how you speak, your confidence, that will tell me, okay, this person is very good. I mean, if you come across like really confident and knowledgeable, I know whether as a manager, project head, HR, I know that 6 months to a year down the line, I can promote you. You can be a team lead. So at that point of your interview, it's already stuck in my head and I will shortlist you there. And I will be watching your work because I already shortlisted you in my head that, I can make this person a team lead or a manager 6 months to 1 year down the line. And from then, I will start gauging your growth and your input in the company. So don't take it very lightly after you get recruited. Please put in a lot of hard work because they're always watching every step. They see when you work hard. And I'm not saying work hard, work 10 hours and 14 hours to show that you're a hard worker. Work smart. Okay, in these 2 hours, instead of spending 10 hours where I'm doing little and spending 10 hours, I might as well dedicate completely 2 hours and I'll complete my task. And then the remaining I'm free. So work smart, not hard. And work where your management can notice. It's very important. And don't think they don't notice. They notice every small thing. How you are with the team, when you have extra work, do you make faces or crib when you have to do a little extra, if you're willing to work on the weekends, only if it is a very important project. Otherwise it's okay, you can always tell them you can't. But this is what they see. How much can you give to the company so that then I can give you back in return? It's a give and take policy, right? So please do that. Moving on. Resume and self introduction. This is now how you master it. Your name and background. Now, please do not say, I've heard this many a times and I've also given feedback to wherever I work. My name is Diana. Diana here. Diana here. My name is Diana, so and so, and I come from a Christian background. I have 4 people in my family. I have a son, a husband. My in-laws stay with me. That is not necessary. First of all, Diana here, very wrong. There's no here and there. If you're not here, then where are you? Just say, hi, I'm Diana. And, start giving a little bit of your background, that I graduated from so and so college, and I have experience in blah 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 blah. Don't talk too much about your personal unless and until asked. Immediately focus more on your first, your obviously your name, and then talk about your skills and your experience. Then end it with your achievements on a high note. Okay, like your skills, your best project or your achievements, and also tell them why this role in company, that why should they recruit you. So before they ask you, you tell them, I've applied at your reputed organization or company because it was always, some people say it and it works, because it was always my dream to work in such a reputed company, and I know what I can bring to the table. I know what addition and how I can make an impact working at your company by doing this, and the projects that I mentioned before in my achievements. I'm sure I can be a value added employee. That seals the deal again. So when you close with enthusiasm, close on a very high note, that how you can be impactful or what you can add apart from just hiring you at a particular role. What else can you bring? What else? And how am I going to say? I'm not going to see, for example, I'm not going to see you as an AI engineer for the next 5 years. I'll obviously, as an employer, I want to see you grow I want to see you do more. So these few things keep in mind: your name, a little bit of your professional background, your skills, project achievements, your why have you chosen this company and this role. And even, for example, this is one of the things that we are seeing most of these days is because of recession, and a lot of companies are not hiring at the moment because of XYZ reasons. So say if you have a lot of experience, say you have 10 years of experience, but you are applying for a small role because you've tried, tested, you're not getting a job and now you need a job, right? Or you're very highly educated, but again, you're not getting a job and you've applied for a very simple role, a very simple title. So you have to focus on telling them why have you chosen this role and be very truthful about it. Because if you fake it, they will know. Just say that I know that these are my qualifications or certifications. However, at this moment, looking at the recession and the hiring process in the company, so I definitely do not mind starting at or doing this role because I know my skill and I know that I can achieve where I was in my time or in a short span of time. I know I can bring value to your company. So that, and why you say this is because you're saying that so that you don't start off from just for the sake of it. Because they know that you're a hard worker. They know that, okay, you're being truthful about not, I mean, there are no jobs outside, and you don't mind stepping into this role and growing from there. And you can be value added because you have a lot of experience or certifications that can help me in different projects. So please use that. Many people fake it and say that blah blah blue blue, and again they'll say, "Oh, okay, you're highly qualified, and maybe I would not have. This is not my budget." So always tell them, you show them your effort, your enthu, and your need for growth. That is something a recruiter always looks for. All right. Any questions? All right. Moving on. The types of interview. This is, just give me 1 minute, please. I'm just 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, types of interviews. This is how you have to prepare accordingly. Now, in HR, what does HR look for? Your personality, your goals, your communication. They are not bothered about what projects because they themselves are not very technically sound. They just, the first round, they look for communications, confidence, your personality, and whether you will be the right choice for this role. They have a little bit of an overall technical knowledge that, okay, for example, data analyst or AI engineer. Oh, okay, your resume says AI engineer or data analyst. Okay, okay. And your communication is good. Okay, next round. Now, your technical interview here, when you have your second round, that is, if it's now generally they club it up. Okay, technical with your maybe just a manager or a senior person from the team. So they would want to understand your skill set, the projects, a lot more to do with your technical background and how you can help in that particular team. Your third round, or maybe, see, some have 1 or 2 rounds, it depends. Every company is different. Now, your third round, many big corporates have at least 3 to 4 rounds. So, your managerial round, that is with maybe a senior manager, they look at, okay, if you're a good team player, And can I look at you being my future leader? Even if not leader, not every senior manager or CEO looks for that. However, they look for somebody with longevity. That is, whether you will stay with my company for a long period of time and grow along. Because they're not going to think that, okay, in 6 months, I'm going to make you a leader, so I'll only look at leadership skill. No. Whether you are reliable and you have the ability to learn and grow. This is what they look at. Now, behavioral interview. This is again when I sit down. This is when a trainer or somebody else who's only focusing on your body language, your confidence, your behavioral skills. Like, I mean, I would end up asking, okay, so say for example, you had a particular issue in the team. One, as some situation I would give you. I would only want to see how you respond. What is your response? And whether you're confident about that particular problem solving. Have you thought about problems? So your mind, how fast does your mind go? Like, okay, this is a situation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I've already thought of the problem. I've solved the problem in my head at that time. It only tells me you can think fast, you can think on your feet. So that is what I will be looking at from a communicational skills person. Now, some also have group discussions, but it's not everywhere. There are very few companies who select from, if they're having like a 30, 40 people, what they do is sometimes HR, they club them up. Instead of having one-on-one interview, which will take a very long time, they club everybody and they give you a topic. This is your topic. Speak about it. Now, here also your confidence, your listening skills. First of all, what is the situation? What is the topic? Think fast, your confidence, how you allowing somebody to speak, your attitude. Okay, you're not being say overly proud or overly, because many people are very proud because they achieve so much, and they show that authority. So these are the things that I look at in a group discussion. Somebody sitting very quiet. This is a topic, but because so many people are talking, three, four people are talking at a time, one person is sitting quiet. Now that person I'm definitely not going to recruit because they have not even put in an effort to open their mouth. So even if you're not very loud or not very, at least from a recruiter's point of view, I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm looking at your body language, I'm looking at all of these things. Okay, and I think I had a question on chat, which my colleague had mentioned about what was that? If I have a template, a professional template. I will try. Maybe by tomorrow, I'll upload it on the website, on the IT Learn website. And if you remember and have access, you will be able to access the document. Okay. And this was, I think, yeah, this was the only question on chat. So I will upload it. Let me, this is more of in detail training content. I'll just shorten it up and I'll have it uploaded. All right. Any questions so far? No. Okay, good, which means, okay, but I like questions because that only tells me that people are listening, people are curious. And if you're not also, maybe then you're understanding everything. So it's a good thing. All right, moving on. Okay, here, the perfect interview preparation strategy. Now, before the interview, all of us know, some of us still don't do it. Okay, XYZ company, now you've applied 4, 5, 10 places you've applied, and you have the interview tomorrow. Without any research, they go for that. Why? Only because you're focused on the job role. Name of the company, job role. That's it. But from my point of view, from an employer's point of view, how do I know that you even are aware of what you have to do in my company. What value can you bring to my company? So always, it's a best practice to always research about the company, see their highs, see talk about it. Say so when you go for the thing, and why, if you remember, I mentioned this in the earlier slides. Why this role and company? So you can say I've applied for this role at your reputed company or your company is because I have, I've done a research and I see that your company is, is or is more focused on growth, growth of employees, growth of, however, I mean, whatever is relevant to you. Okay, and I've seen reviews. I've heard from people who have worked here, some of friends, some of friends. Not necessarily every time you're researching online, it could be via friends or via um, acquaintances. So you talk about it. Of course, you will do an online research as well, but it's always a nice thing to say, I've heard from here, I've read online. All right, understand the job role. What are they looking for? You might have 5, 10 skill sets, but please understand what is the role, and accordingly you create your resume and explain or talk about that particular role instead of what you've done the other 8 things. Prepare your resume explanation. That is the same about resume creation. Practice common questions. Go in front of the mirror. If you're a person who gets nervous, the best of best gets nervous. I get nervous if I have to do an interview elsewhere, or and I've conducted interviews, but still we're human. There's always a particular or a small percent or a large percent of nervousness. That's okay. You keep practicing. You have people at home or your friends, your relatives, do a role play. You're the HR person or the manager. Please ask me whatever questions that comes to your mind. This is my resume. Ask me whatever you want. So practice. Or you can be both. Be the recruiter and be the interview. Sorry, the person applying for the job. Okay, the recruit. So stand in front of the mirror, do that, or imagine it in your head. If you don't want to do it practically, then keep playing it in your head time and again. Imagine and keep practicing that way. Mental practice. Revise projects and core concepts. That is, if you say, if I have 15 years of experience and I've done a project which was great, like Madhab in my second or third year of experience. Now, I'm not going to just talk about it and leave it. I will again go back to that project. I'll try and refresh my memory so that I get highlights, just one point at least to talk about it. Okay. And my core concepts. What is it? And how am I again value added? Okay. Moving on. All right. Most asked interview questions and smart answers. Now, HR questions would be tell me about yourself. Now, here, your name, your professional background, not interested in your personal stuff. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, strengths we all know. Now, weaknesses, what I've come across in the past is somebody says, I sleep too much. Or I mean, once I go back home, I like to have a cup of coffee, watch TV. That is not your weakness. So please understand, weakness doesn't mean to say something that you lack. No, your strength could also be your weakness, where if I'm smart enough and if I answer and I say, I'm a workaholic, I mean, I'm very task oriented. So even if it takes me another extra 2 or 3 hours after my office or after my working hours, I don't mind putting the effort because I am very task oriented and I like. Now, how it serves as a weakness, you can continue. It's a weakness because then at home they all, just call me workaholic, or of course, I try and balance my personal and professional life. But this is my strength and my weakness. And the person will be very impressed Because one, you're saying that you can, you don't mind putting the extra hours, whether it is at office or whether work from home. Plus, you're balancing it out, even though, you're getting all cribbing from the other end, but you're balancing it out. So you know how to balance both. Why should we hire you? Again, what is the value that I get if I hire you among hundreds of people? Why you? So have a very job role oriented project achievements, talk about those and say, this is why, this is what I've done in the past, and this is what I can do for you in the future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Oh, this also I've come across a lot of. I see myself as a CEO. Really, you come for a what? Say for example, as an agent. It's for example, I'll give you a very generic, as a telecaller, and then you say you look at yourself as a CEO in 5 years. It could be possible. I'm not saying no, but at that point, it is a very irrelevant answer. So what you say is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I see myself as a project head. I know I'm joining as a telecaller, but I would learn and my focus is on growth. So I will give in my all to achieve and to at least see myself as a project head in the next 5 years. Something very relevant, something that you can actually in reality see yourself in 5 years. Now, there are many people, if you've seen big corporates, even 10 years, they're in the same job role. Now, I'm not saying it's the employer's problem and they have not seen. Of course, they have not seen because they've not seen any extra skill set in you. They are promoting somebody else because there's an X factor in the other person. So bring about that X factor in you. That's what you need to focus on. All right, technical questions, explain your final year project. That is if they ask you, or, differentiate between this and that, which is maybe, for example, Python and Java, or AI and something else. Now, in terms of this versus this, what do you prefer to build a website? X versus Y. What do you prefer and why? Now, explain about dash concepts, or just tell me what do you think. Give me your views on whatever concepts. So technically, they're going to ask you. They'll make it casual, but read between the lines and focus on the particular ask, what they have asked you. If it's difference between this and that, tell them the difference between. Don't only focus on one particular topic that you're good at and leave the other one because you've not answered the question. So focus on the question and answer accordingly. Now I've got another question here. Um, is cover letters important while applying for jobs? Yes, it is important. Cover letters are nothing but it's a kind of an objective. It is the objective that you're talking about yourself, where you're again mentioning your name, your background, your professional background, just the highlights, and how you can be of value to that particular company. So maybe just write, as per my research, this company is into so and so, and based on that is why I have applied for this role, and I can be a value added. I can be of value as I can do this. So you have to put in your own words because everybody's talent, everybody's skill, it's different. I cannot give you like the exact verbatim. I cannot give you exact words what to say. I'm just giving an overall idea. Your cover letter, of course, because what happens is, again, nowadays cover letters is very important because as an HR person, I'm not going to read the entire thing. So what I'll do is I'll have like say if I have like 15 resumes for the day, and I'm only focusing on your cover letter. Okay, this. Okay, this is that. What you can bring. This is a job role. I'm not even looking at your resume. I'm shortlisting from your cover letter only. That is why a cover letter is definitely very important. Okay, any questions so far? No?
So cover
Okay.
letter can be
Yeah.
related to the job and the summary, right? Or
Yes,
like
yes, of
it
course. It's the same like
content.
objective.
Okay.
So in your objective also, you're saying giving your skill set
Mm-hmm.
and the role you're applying for and what you can how you can help or what value can you bring to them, to the company. That
Okay.
it shouldn't be a paragraph. It should be like maybe max about 3 4 sentences, but impactful, where you're talking about your skill set. You're talking about, even if you want to talk about your projects. I worked on in the similar role, I worked on this and this projects, and this was the outcome, and hence
Mhm.
I feel the need to apply for this role because I can bring value to your company that way, so
Okay.
focus on
Okay.
that. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Vasundhara. All right, moving on. Now, next is behavioral questions that will be mostly asked by communication skills trainer or maybe just a manager without who maybe there are 2 3 people, but one wants to focus more, not necessarily a communication skills trainer, but it could be your team lead or your manager, because sometimes team lead is also there, manager is also there. So then they'll ask you, tell me about a challenge you faced. So think about the best one or practice it before, because this is what they'll definitely ask you. How did you problem solve a particular situation? Note it down, practice, practice, practice. Tell them about the challenge. Say for example, you worked in a team and we had to deliver the project in 3 days. However, there was shortage of the team because of the festival, and there were just 2 of us, and we had to work like the whole night, hardly like 2 3 hours of sleep. However, our focus was to deliver this to the client, which was the most important. And this is how, with putting that effort for the team, for management, for my company, this is what I have done, and I have solved the issue by being a great team player. Example I'm giving you. You all can make your own. I mean, according to your situations, according to your challenges, you can talk about it. Describe a time you worked in a team. That is, again, I mean, how good of a team player you are. How do you handle failure? Oh, yes, this many of them end up asking you, especially if the senior management, they will ask you. That say, for example, I have you shortlisted as a team lead, and you also know that, but due to some circumstances, you don't get the role. How will you handle it? So then you come up, practice these questions. You come up with answers. Say that I trust the company, of course, due to some hurdle that this could not happen. However, I will still do my best. How I was working, I will work, I'll put an extra effort. And I'm sure that down the line, again, I will be, thank you so much for recognizing the talent and giving me this opportunity. However, it did not work out. But I know that down the line, again, I will be pulled up for the same position. Or you can give it as an example of the past. I'm just giving you examples of how you can handle failure. All right, next. We have very less time on hands. We've already crossed. So let's move on fast. Communication and body language training. This is communication and body language. Now, here again, body language, when you go for an interview, your first impact is your smile, you shake hands, you're dressed professionally, appropriately, and you say, if you know the person's name, please address. And it's never ever Mr. and first name. It's always Mr. and the last name, Miss and the last name. Never ever call anyone Mrs. For a woman, it's always Miss. So, for example, if my name is Diana Michael, Miss Diana is okay, but the correct term is Miss Michael. So, for example, if it is Mr. Venkat Reddy, now you'll say Mr. Reddy, not Mr. Venkat. Mr. Reddy. That is the correct way of saying it. Everybody, all of us, make this mistake. We say Mr. and Miss with the first name. It's always Mr. and Miss with the last name. Otherwise, take permission and call them by the first name. But in the US, they don't practice this, Mr. and Miss. It's always a first name itself. So if you're in the US, it's a first name. But please don't get confused or not know the first name and call them something else. Be sure. All right. So smile naturally, sit straight, maintain eye contact, speak clearly, not fast. Of course, if they ask you, don't say, yeah, I worked on this project and go with a moderate pace. That's why you need to practice. Avoid filler words that is like, okay, and you say one sentence and you say, okay, 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 uh-huh, uh-huh. No, never do that. And even if you're responding, don't say, uh-huh, say yes. So please avoid fillers. Next, moving on, the etiquette and professionalism. Here, the do's are be on time, very, very important. Dress professionally, greet confidently, ask questions at the end. Of course, every time at the interview, they say, do you have any questions? Ask. Maybe ask, okay, so if I join here, what is the growth rate? Like, is how I just want to know that what is the growth rate. So I know that how I can work on or work effectively to reach whatever. So that is you have to, according to the company and according to your profile, you have to think about it. So ask relevant questions that will also you have to choose them. Now they only don't need to choose you. You also have to choose the company. You have 3, 4 options. You ask them questions. Even if you don't have options, you ask them what is the growth rate. Like, I mean, if I join here, so for me, if I started this role, so what do you think approximately would be the timeline for me to grow and go to the next level? It's a very, very relevant question. Please ask this if you don't have anything else, because that will also show the person who's interviewing um, that okay, you're joining and you also want to know because you want to grow with the company. So it's a good thing to ask. So please ask. Now, don'ts. Please do not interrupt. If someone's asking in between, only say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, what were you saying? Or I missed this first part. No. Even if you missed it, try and again focus back on the remaining part. And then you ask them, I'm sorry, I've heard most of it, but this is something you said, in the beginning about so and so, I just missed that part. I did not want to interrupt. I'm sorry. So I'm asking that if you can please repeat that way. Don't interrupt. Don't speak negatively about others. Now, why you left your previous company? Please don't say that, oh, my manager wasn't good. My manager made me work extra hours, or the company did not give me a raise. No, never ever say that. Always say, I've taken this decision for my growth, my professional growth. And because they will understand, oh, okay, maybe you did not get that previously. Just see that for my professional growth, that's why. And the company, your reputed company, I know that I can see a future with the company. And that's why I've come to interview here. And then the next, say, I don't know without trying. Yeah, they ask you something, just don't say, I don't know. Listen. And if you do not know anything about it, just say, I'm really sorry, but I do not have much knowledge on this particular topic. That's it. I don't have much knowledge on this particular topic. And you can get away with it. All right. Moving on. Questions candidates must ask interviewers. Now, at the end, like I said, okay, growth. So here, what does success look like in this role? So what is a success? I want to know how successful will I be upon joining your company, and when the timeline. I'm not looking at immediate success, but I just want to see my graph. What are the growth opportunities? This is a very, 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 very important question. Always ask at all interviews. What are the growth opportunities? What technologies will I work on? Of course, you're from a technical background. Please ask them that What will it be? Because say if you're then if they say something that you've not worked on, it's not on your resume, also not on your certifications, you can say, oh wow, I always wanted to learn this, so it's a great opportunity to learn this on the job. It'll show your enthusiasm to learn that. Another star for you to be recruited. All right, again, this shows your confidence and interests. Now the last, before I ask questions, the last is the next slide, handling rejection and staying motivated. Now, here, not every time will you pass an interview because maybe there's somebody else who's done a better job. It's okay. Take feedback. Whenever you get a call and say, we're sorry, we could not. Nowadays, it's just this, automated email that we do not, we're not looking for this role anymore, or this role has been filled, so and so. So what you can do is you can also call the company and ask them to speak with HR and just say, just for feedback, I would like to know the reason for me not getting through the interview. You can do that. You can email them if you really want a feedback so that you can work on it and do better in your next interview for a particular role. Okay. So once you get feedback, then what happens is that you keep practicing and you will gain confidence, clarity, skills, exposure. Why? Because of rejected, and then you will, now you've learned from those two rejections, so obviously a third one you're going to excel at it. So it's not only the interview that you need to handle rejection. At any point in life, professionally or personally, take it as a learning curve. Always. I have been through rejections, personal, professional, but I always thought, okay, how can I do better? What can I do different? How can I portray myself differently the next time I speak to somebody? How can I overcome this? So I do a lot of research, I watch a lot of videos, I gain more knowledge, then I'm more confident. So always, whether it is again personal or professional, take it positively. Your rejection is also a way of opening more opportunities for you. Look at it that way. Always stay self motivated. Think positive. Whenever you think positive, positive will come to you. You think negative, negative will only happen. So always, please, 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 this one thing I would like to end with, think positive, stay motivated. Any questions so far? All right. Seems like there are no questions, and I want to thank everybody who's joined, everybody who's asked questions, Vasundhara, Arvind, and many more who wanted to ask via chat, and the ones who had the question in mind and I answered it before. So I want to thank everybody for joining, taking out your time. It is precious time, and I hope that I could help in some way or the other to enhance or just revise. We've all been there, done that, especially. And then for freshers, if I've helped, then thank you so much for joining my sessions. I do have a month-on-month communication skills sessions on very different topics. So look out for our emails, please. If you haven't, I mean, even our membership, our courses, we have 70 plus courses. We do a lot of different, trainings, technical, non-technical. We have guest speakers. So it will really help that you get our membership. We do have discounts, and we're also planning on much more in the future. So if you're not a member with us, please go and opt for our membership. And do give us feedback as well. You can always email us and give us feedback if you feel that we've not, not been there or not as per your expectations, because we learn with that and we also grow. We learn every day. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good morning, a very good day for few of you, and a good night for few of you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Diana. I have
Thanks.
one question not related to this one. This is for Saturday session. I have completed that Fox's certification yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know, like, where should I like communicate that one, or you will be notified? I don't know. So Karthik
No,
has
we will send you an email, Vasundhara. What we do is we always see who has, and if you've had any assignments or any tests that you had to do, we'll get back to you, and we also have our certifications. You will get our certificate. So we'll keep you posted.
okay. Thank you so
You
much.
will receive emails from us
Okay, thank you.
anytime. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.